Today we came to Glen Ivy Hot Springs and we took a time to reset, unplug, and align. Today's guest is Dr. Kalpana Sundar, and she is an amazing woman aligned with her values of impact, wealth, and vitality. And I would love for you to tell us more about that. Tell us what inspired this and introduce yourself, please.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Well, for many years, I was just known as a ear, nose, and throat surgeon. I had my own med spa, I had my own practice, and my life was pretty good. I was successful on paper, but I didn't think my life really looked or felt as good on the inside as it looked on the outside. So that was just something that I didn't really understand. And then years later, I wound up leaving medicine mostly because I was burning out and I didn't feel I was even in alignment with what modern Western medicine even stood for. So ethically, it was a challenge for me. And then I left and I really rediscovered and reinvented myself in a whole new way.
I love that journey, how you went through such a rigorous educational process and then later be one of the top doctors as a surgeon in that industry of helping others medically. And some people think that when they dedicate so much time and money and resources, blood, sweat, tears into a career, that they just marry it and they think that they're just so invested in the career that they might as well keep at it for another day and another day. And next thing you know, years pass, decades pass, and then you're ready for quote unquote retirement and signing some papers to forward your money into the future spending habits to fund your lifestyle. And that just doesn't sit well with certain people, such as Dr. Sundar and myself, in which, we iterate. We're challenging the script. We are building something else outside of a hospital system, outside of an institution. We decided to continue learning because you know what? Self-education can make you a fortune. And formal education could just make you a living.
I love that quote because you're so right. I was making a living and I was making a good living, but I wasn't making a fortune. Despite what people think, doctors work really, really hard for their money. They're in debt and it takes a very long time to pay off that debt. You're also much older when you start your career. So you're starting 10 years later than the average person. You have more debt. Those are significant minuses before you even start getting to the pluses. And not to mention that your whole youth was spent on that. I don't remember my 20s and 30s. They were just gone. So this is a big price to pay. Like how much would I give to get 20s and 30s back? I would give a lot of money, honestly. So we can't look at things just in a cost of money. Because money can always be made, and frankly, money can be made faster the older and more experienced you get, because you find smarter ways to make it. So I left medicine because it wasn't in alignment. I did not believe in just patching things up. I wanted to teach people how to have their vitality, maintain their health, but medicine doesn't let you do that. The system is designed for people to be unwell. And I didn't love that about it. So when I left, it was for ethical reasons and also burnout reasons. But then when the reinvention happened, I realized that I wanted to teach people about vitality because that to me is what's important. And when you have vitality, you don't really have to worry about sprinting towards an end goal of retirement to just stop working and then live your life. You can actually just freaking live your life along the way, and you can fund it along the way, which is what I'm doing now. I mean, theoretically, I was supposed to be retired at 50 and I was supposed to just be doing I don't know what, but I just reinvented myself, left a business, started a new business, started living my life in a whole different way, and I'm enjoying my life alongside what I'm doing. I'm not waiting for this magic day to retire and then start enjoying my life.
I'm sure we can all think of that one person who hits retirement and then does what they love, whether it be golf, whether it be travel, whether it be hanging out at a day spa, going to Vegas to a day club, you know. I think that when you live in alignment with what you want and hang out with the people that you want by your side when you get there, it's already living the life. It's already the good life. What do you say?
I totally agree. And you know what? The advice that I give my kids, because my kids are 20, almost 28 and almost 25. You know what I actually told them? Don't work so hard right now to save your money. Live. I said, because you won't get your youth back. You can always make money. And I told them exactly that. I said, I make money faster now because I'm smarter. I have more experience. I know how to do things I didn't know how to do in my 20s. I said, money can be made. Yes, you could choose to save. I'm not saying be ridiculous, but just don't put all of your money saving. I mean, live a little is what I said. Live alongside of the money that you're saving, because that's not what I was taught. I was just taught to save, save, save and not live and wait for this magical retirement year and then start to live. Well, you know what happens to most people when they retire? They usually die a few years later because all the stress from working usually kills you. So maybe we're doing it wrong. Maybe we should be living while we're working and not waiting for some magical day to retire.
Because the truth is, if people knew their end date, they would live differently.
100%. We don't know the end date. And something shifted my perspective in my 30s because I had thyroid cancer and I thought my end date was then. It almost was. I was 33. So I thought that was my end date. I almost died. But when I had another chance, I just saw all those regrets passing before my eyes. And I said, you know what? If I have the opportunity to live, I'm going to do it differently.
Yes, and why not do it differently? Ask yourself, what if it did work? What if I'm just a little extra courageous today? What if I leave fear to the side, approach someone? Who knows, maybe that conversation that you're avoiding to have opens the door for your next relationship, your next significant other, your next business partner, etc.
It happens all the time. I mean, I was just actually telling you off air here that I don't do LinkedIn outreach like other people do. I just get a vibe when I see somebody's profile picture and just a couple of words off their profile, and I just say, that's somebody I feel like I need to know. I don't look at their profile in depth for 25 minutes and then decide. I just get a hunch, and I reached out. I think that's how I reached out to you, and actually several of my business partners have come from LinkedIn, that kind of outreach. A podcast co-host also came from that. So many things, because I wasn't afraid to just say, got a good vibe about this one. Let's just connect and see what happens. And then it just evolved, of course. But if I didn't make that step, then none of the stuff would have happened.
Right. And then we also have talked about the not being attached to a particular outcome, but to just let things naturally unfold. And I think that is important because there's a book out there, Power versus Force, and it talks about you influencing versus forcing. And we all have power within us, and we all can influence. If you're a mother, you influence your kids. If you're a teacher, you influence your students. If you're a doctor, you influence your patients. Nurses follow up with that plan of care, and it all revolves around communication. And if you're an effective communicator, what you say and what you teach will actually either stick and stay, and you could change someone's life for the better, or it could help them maybe not follow a certain plan of care or treatment or recommendation and advice that could move the needle for their family. And instead, they just brush it off and nothing happens. And so we're all about helping people make difficult decisions after, we get to know them a bit and they grow to trust us. That could really leave an impact.
Absolutely. Because the bottom line is that you want to live a life that's joyous and full, but the reality is that you need certain elements to live that kind of life. You, number one, need your health. You need the energy, the vitality, that life force to live it in that way. And you need money. You need to fund that life. The money has to come from somewhere. So it's not about being materialistic, but that life, the type of life you want to live has to be funded in some way. We have to be proactive about that. And then for some of us, we can't just be on this earth just having a good time and whatever. We feel like we want to leave something behind. And that's where the impact comes in. And that's where I knew those were the 3 pillars that were very important to me, my life, and I just made that the business because that is how I live my life. So I don't have a separate brand identity for me or my business. It's all the same thing.
And when we look at founders we want to support, I think that's what really attracts us to their business is, like, who are they as a person, for example. A brand like, what's a brand that you like?
Oh my God, there's a few. God, what was oh goodness, now I can't, of course now I'm put on the spot, I can't think of one.
Well, top 2, Tesla and Apple. You think of the brand, you think of the person that runs it. We could think of Elon Musk, for example. Like, who has more followers? Is it the person or the brand itself?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
When you look at media, in the beginning, it's the person.
Okay.
And then it becomes the brand itself. And I think that's very interesting to study because people will follow you and your values before they get to know your brand.
Okay.
And sometimes the brand can have like a persona in and of itself that's often reflected from like the founder's vision and values.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually thinking one of the brands that I really like is Spanx. I mean, I just think that the way she created that brand and really solved a need, I don't know why I went right to clothing, but I just thought she was so proactive in how she created a solution for a problem that women face, with just the Spanx, just hiding all the bulges and all that. But then she went on to create clothing and other travel wear and whatnot. And now she has a brand called Sneaks that are like stilettos but feel like sneakers. I haven't tried them, but I just admire the creativity that she had for Sarah Blakely to just, I don't know. I mean, it didn't start overnight, of course. It took time.
Sarah Blakely and her husband, Jesse Itzler, are such great founders and entrepreneurs. I had the privilege of hearing them speak at a conference, and their origin stories is so interesting, and that's what, if you're an aspiring business owner, it's something worth studying is people's journeys, right? Mm-hmm. Because you could really learn from that.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just, I think I automatically go to female founders when I think of founders. So I just think I have to really look at the origin story. I don't know that I know that, so I'm going to find out about that. Definitely a good homework project for me.
And something that comes to mind too is last time I checked the Forbes, I did see a female as like one of the top earners. She was, I believe, Judy Falker in the billions for tech.
Oh, wow.
I think she invented Epic, that software used in hospital systems.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. I just didn't recognize the name, but absolutely. That's pretty impressive. But in history, the women who have invented amazing things, they just don't get the notoriety often, which is funny.
And sometimes they don't even want it.
That's probably very true. Very, very true. I think both are true.
I'm sure there's lots of people that would qualify to hit the Forbes list, but they decline the publicity altogether.
Oh, probably. That makes a lot of sense.
For privacy reasons, too, and anonymity, as we talk about when we help our clients with legacy planning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anonymity is a big thing, so makes a lot of sense. But I think that the world is changing. It's not so much about, hoarding everything for yourself. It's about what you're giving back to others, how you're helping other people, how you're leaving a better world behind than the one you came into. And there's just people, I see more and more people that are really stepping up to that these days. I mean, more and more than I think than ever were.
You know who I like that's doing very, very good things with his money is the number one YouTuber as of date, Mr. Beast.
Oh, yeah, I don't know much about him.
Jimmy is a mastermind when it comes to creating content that is viral. And yeah, he has so many subscribers, and just the way he's been able to give back with creating wells in third world countries to provide resources like water.
I love that.
Helping people see again, blind people see, helping kids with cleft palates have a structured facial feature again. These are just things that would really, I think, excite anyone into philanthropy, is finding out other ways to give back.
100%. And that's why I've always wanted to do, is just to give back in that massive way, Hopefully one day I can. But it's nice to see other people doing it. So, all we could do is hope to follow in their footsteps and provide it for the causes that are important to us. I mean, I did start my charitable foundation, which is for, female entrepreneurs. So I'm going to be doing more work with that over the next year and whatnot. And I really do want to give back. I want to see more women own their own businesses, because I think it just changes the landscape of their families. Not only for themselves, they're more independent. They're not dependent on a man. I don't want women to be dependent. If you choose to be with somebody, yes, that's wonderful. It changes the landscape for their children and every generation forward. So it's really an important thing.
You know what else too? I see philanthropy as a very feminine energy, very nurturing, very caring, a very good yin-yang match with the traditional business and energy that can carry. I think that has been depicted as a masculine energy sometimes, depending on who you've engaged business with. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
having a balance.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would probably, it's always been depicted more in a masculine energy, but I do feel that philanthropy is more of a feminine energy. But then I wonder if it's because women may remain anonymous when they do it. I wonder. Women will tend not to take the credit for things. I see that often. I mean, the more I learn about this, I think that tends to be the case. Now, I don't know numbers or anything, but I just think that tends to be the case. So maybe that's why.
If you're a small business owner, female founder, I think I'd love to have you on the show. So definitely reach out. I'm going to link up our information below so you could reach out to either of us. And let's keep this conversation going.
Well, thank you so much. This was such an enjoyable conversation, especially after a day at the hot springs. We got into some deep talk, but this is what life is about: spending time with the people you care about, enjoying yourself, giving yourself that downtime, because then you can regroup and then give back to the world. You can't fill from an empty cup.
That's right. And this is one of those places to energize at.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Marysol.
My pleasure, Dr. Sundar, and we will see each other on a future episode.